Thank you very much. With that, we bring in Fox News contributor Katie Pavlich and former Democrat New York State Senator David Carlucci. Great to have both of you with us. So I guess the premise of the piece that we showed the headline of, David, is that these folks are making AOC, sort of palatable as a presidential candidate, that they make her look a little bit more mainstream. Is that true?
Well, I think we're going to see a wide open field come 2028, right? We've got a way to go. But what this shows me is that we've got candidates that are stepping up to run for office that maybe didn't think about it in the past, from Albuquerque to Minneapolis, right here in New York City. And it's not that that's taking over the Democratic Party. I think it's a compliment to the Democratic Party. It's the excitement. It's the diversity of ideas. The ideology isn't monolithic. It's not just one person, one party. It's multiple candidates. And I think this is a healthy debate. It's some division, yes, but that's what democracy is all about. And remember, this is a small selection of the electorate. In Minnesota, I think that was done by a convention. So it wasn't a traditional primary. And right here in New York with Mondami, we have ranked choice voting. So it's not the overall majority, but it's a small sliver, but it's an excited sliver. And I think it's something that can help these new candidates in these elections this year and heading to the midterms next.
You're seeing these folks shake up their races. Jacob Frey obviously was mayor during the George Floyd incident. And then you have Cuomo, who got booted out and is now back in as an independent candidate, Katie. I guess the question is, are these individuals, are they tapping into something? You look at the disruptor of Donald Trump on the conservative side, who understood the electorate, understood what people wanted. Are these people understanding what they want on the other end?
They're tapping into this part of the Democratic Party that has existed for a long time. I mean, Bernie Sanders has been on the national stage for many, many years, ran against Hillary Clinton, et cetera. But what they're trying to do here is to nationalize this kind of democratic socialist policy making. And if you look at the places they're experimenting this with, New York City, plus 30 Democrat, Minneapolis, a very deep blue city, Seattle. I mean, that's a place that's never going to have even a moderate Democrat running for mayor or any other position, not to mention a Republican. And as you've seen AOC invite Zora Mondani, for example, to Washington, D.C., and many Democrats embrace him, including moderates, by the way, they're clearly trying to make this a national standard for the way that the party operates. But at the same time, it's very telling that once they get into these general elections, they have to moderate their positions. So Mondani, for example, is trying to argue that he never called for defunding of the police, even though there are dozens of statements on his X feed doing exactly that and calling them racist and fascist, et cetera. AOC is also trying to, quote, moderate some of her views as well. So nationally, as we saw in 2024, the entire country shifted to the right. But it's a little bit of a different story when you're working inside of a city that's already plus 30. One more thing I want to say. In Minneapolis, for example, I think it'll be interesting if Democrats look at the results of these policies and whether they change their mind. Because in Minneapolis, this candidate, Omar Fattah, doesn't think that the defund the police movement went far enough. Violent crime in Minneapolis is up. Murder rates this year are up. So there are real consequences to these policies, and whether Americans want more of them, especially nationally, is going to be a question.
And here in New York, with what happened yesterday on Park Avenue, David, Mamdani sort of had, some, we feel bad for people who were injured. Didn't respond at all when an officer, an agent, was shot in the face in the park by someone who was here illegally. So these sorts of situations put them in a difficult spot. They don't know how to respond.
I saw the mayor on your show earlier today, and he's a former law enforcement official. And my point is that all politics is local, and you're going to have candidates run different style campaigns depending where they are. And I think that shows the diversity of the Democratic Party. Look at Roy Cooper, who's entering the race for the Senate in North Carolina. The wind is at the backs of Democrats across the country, and candidate quality matters, and they have to meet the voter where they are.
They have the lowest approval rating in 35 years.
Yes, and those polls, yes, we have to take that seriously, but these districts are so gerrymandered, unfortunately, that that's not the overall electorate. These candidates have to meet the voters where they are. So a generic ballot really doesn't tell me anything.
You got to worry about it. If some of these mayors win and they start to do stuff, they're going to run on it. Republicans will run on it as a national issue, like Reagan with the San Francisco Democrats. All right, they're counting me down. Thank you very much, you guys.